Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Priya Vijayakumar. Priya Vijayakumar has over 15 years of experience creating and implementing global product strategy in Fortune 100, mid-cap, and startups. She has successfully built and commercialized highly technical hardware and software product solutions through direct sales and channel partners. Priya was the Vice President of Product and Marketing at two IoT startups, Cloudleaf and AeroScout Industrial, which were ultimately acquired by Stanley Black & Decker. Priya has also held multiple product and engineering leadership roles at GE Energy and Pratt & Whitney. She has a Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering from the University of Toronto and currently lives in San Francisco, California. Well, good afternoon, Priya. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brian. Great to be here.
Absolutely. This is so awesome. Thank you for jumping on. And I know you're currently hailing out of the great state of California up in the San Francisco Bay Area. So thanks again for jumping on and doing an amazing podcast here. So Priya, jumping into these questions, let's talk about your career. You've got quite the career in product management. You're a serial entrepreneur and now the co-founder and CEO of WattIQ. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
I'd probably say the secret is that it was a series of unplanned career events that led me down this path. I think the first part of my career was learning what I didn't want to do, and that was being in big companies. And it's really later on that I realized being sometimes a nonconformist is really a hint of entrepreneurship, right? And I think it's just eventually as you grow through your career, you realize that you're driven more by what inspires you than more than checking a box. And I think I've loved to solve big problems, haven't been afraid to take the big swings, as you say, to tackle those, problems that, people tell you can't be solved. So I think that's probably what drives me the most. And to be able to do something that'll have a positive impact on humanity. So those were sort of the fundamental drivers, I think, that took me down the entrepreneurship path, but definitely did not think of myself as an entrepreneur when I graduated.
Thank you for sharing that, Priya. And you're right. I think a lot of us, we don't quite know what we want to be when we grow up, right? And right. So you've absolutely shared something that resonates not only with a lot of our other guests, but our audience. When you truly are inspired when you're doing better for others. And I love that. So moving on here, we've all had to make these major shifts and sacrifices during the pandemic lockdown, but what's your plans for growth going forward? And will it be any different than during the lockdown?
I think definitely the lockdown challenged everyone. And I always like to tell my team, either adversity helps your business evolve or it makes you extinct, right? And I think it helped us evolve our product and our offering. So we are excited sort of for the growth that's in front of us. We've expanded our product offering. The company was really a technology spin out that happened a little bit before the pandemic. Note to self, don't do a pivot before a pandemic. But it worked out. And, we're expanding in Europe. We've expanded our solution offering and the markets that we serve. So, sometimes you just have to stay focused and be steady and you'll get to the other side.
Thank you. And Priya, you're right. We've had a lot of businesses that struggled and ultimately went out of business. And some struggled and are still in business, but we don't know their future. But it's always good to hear the fact that, people made a conscious decision like, hey, it's sink or swim. And in some cases, bull, I guess, favors the, I forget the saying now at the top of my head, but at the end of the day, people like yourself in these positions that had to make these stretches during this pandemic have really, I guess, proved their mettle. So thank you for sharing that. And now I remember fortune favors the bold. Okay. So Priya, let's move on to a technology type question here. We're a technology platform and you're obviously leveraging some new and emerging technologies within your tech stack. Is there anything you might be able to share with us today?
Yeah, I think the way I think of what we're doing is we're bringing a lot of exciting pieces of technologies together to solve big problems that have existed for a long time, right? people have known for a long time that there's lots of great insights that's possible from an electrical signature from a piece of device. But how do you gather that information at scale so that you can go build new technologies on top of that, right? Build new machine learning algorithms that can give you additional insight. And so that's sort of what we've done is we've brought together a lot of existing technology, some of which we already had IP on, and enabled a whole new area of solutions that previously wasn't accessible because the right technologies didn't come together. And I think that's what's exciting. I always like to say it's like the simplicity of a consumer product with the reliability of an enterprise product.
Thank you. And that's really exciting to hear that. And we talk about this on the show all the time about the innovation and so forth. And a lot of this technology was really either just being developed or maybe sitting on a shelf. And the fact that we are leveraging it, we're showcasing it, and it's more than that. We're actually rolling up our sleeves and leveraging the technology to advance solutions. So thank you. And Priya, last question. Could you share something from your career experience that might be helpful for those looking to grow their career in either leadership or entrepreneurship?
I think both in leadership and entrepreneurship, you are only as strong as your team, right? So the ability to build the right team is absolutely important. Quite often in entrepreneurship, you hear how the first 10 hires are going to be the most important. So people are key. And also as a leader, you have to be comfortable with uncertainty, but at the same time have clarity to drive the company forward because there is a lot of uncertainty in entrepreneurship. And so, have the conviction, because if you don't believe in what you're building, nobody else is going to. You can't expect anybody else to. So people are your biggest asset. Have conviction, and it's just perseverance. You have to be able to get up every time you fall down, because you will fall down many times in the journey. And it's just how many times you stand up.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Again, there's some great gems that we're pulling out of this podcast. I know that we have lots of people out there and listeners that want to learn more about you. And of course, we'll be talking more about you as we get your podcast out there to the world and we get you featured on our platform. So thank you again, Priya. And last thing, Priya, I just want to let you know it was a pleasure having you on today. And I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Thanks, Brian. Great chatting with you.
Bye for now.